All right, let's just jump right in. If you're a designer and you're working on your portfolio, you are definitely going to want to listen to this. We are about to break down a pretty shocking claim from a design manager who's reviewed like over 1,000 portfolios. And it really gets to the heart of a huge but totally fixable problem. Okay, just look at that number, 90%. Seriously, let that sink in for a minute. According to this manager's estimation, that is the rejection rate. 9 out of every 10 portfolios are turned down. It's a staggering number. So what on earth is going on? Why are so many talented designers getting passed over right at the very first hurdle? Well, it pretty much boils down to this one thing: the linear design process. We're talking about those case studies that feel like they're just following a perfect cookie-cutter recipe. You know the ones I'm talking about. They learned about a problem, did some interviews, made personas, sketched, wireframed, created a beautiful prototype, and happy ending. The thing is, real design is never that clean, and any experienced manager knows it. And this quote from the source article, it just perfectly captures the frustration from the other side of the table. Imagine reading portfolio after portfolio, and they all follow the exact same textbook steps. It starts to feel fake, you know? Kind of like reading a bunch of manufactured 5-star reviews for a product. It just loses all its credibility. So here's what's really happening. When a hiring manager at a company that actually gets design sees this, they don't think, wow, what a perfect designer. No. They assume the person is probably inexperienced, or maybe just lacks a real passion for what they do, or, and this is a big one, they simply can't communicate what actually happened on the project. Any of those is enough to get your portfolio tossed.
And the danger here isn't just about missing out on one job. This whole approach can get you stuck in what the author calls the career stalling loop. See, that shallow portfolio might land you all role, but it's probably at a company that doesn't really value design. So you get stuck. Your skills don't grow, and because your work never gets better, your portfolio doesn't either. You're trapped.
Which brings up a pretty big question, right? If the messy, chaotic reality is what hiring managers actually want to see, why are so many designers hiding it? Why present this super clean, totally linear version of their work? There's got to be a reason. Well, it seems to come down to a few really common but totally wrong assumptions. There's this idea that recruiters want to see that perfect by-the-book process. Or, hey, a simple story is just easier for someone to skim through. Plus, you see countless templates and checklists online, so it's super easy to think that's the right way to do it. But it turns out these are all just traps.
But here it is. This is the big takeaway, the whole point of this explainer. The truth is the complete opposite. All those messy details, the dead ends you hit, the arguments with stakeholders, the moments you had to completely pivot, that's not the stuff you should be hiding. That is the gold. That's what makes your story compelling and believable and human.
The author uses this absolutely brilliant analogy to make the point. A cookie-cutter portfolio is like a boring story about a knight who just shows up and slays the dragon. The end. No struggle, no suspense. But a compelling story? That's about the knight whose shield literally melts, who has to retreat and face their own self-doubt, who has to learn and adapt and try again. That's the hero you can relate to. And that's the designer a manager wants to hire.
And this is exactly why it works. When you share the real story with the struggles and how you overcame them, you're not just listing off tasks, you're building empathy. For those few minutes, the design manager reading your portfolio is right there in your shoes, remembering their own messy projects. And they start to see you as a fellow problem solver, not just another applicant.
Okay, so we get it. We need to tell a better story. But how do you actually structure it? I mean, how do you include all the mess without it just sounding, well, messy and chaotic? So the author recommends a really simple but powerful structure that a lot of you might already know. It's the STAR framework. Situation, you set the scene. Task, what was your mission? Action, what did you actually do? And result, how did it all turn out? It's a classic for a reason. It naturally helps you build that narrative arc. Now, here's the key. That action section, that's your secret weapon. This is not just a to-do list. This is where you put all those juicy, messy, interesting details. This is where your real story comes to life and makes you stand out from that 90%.
And to help you get started, here are some fantastic questions to ask yourself for that action section. What totally surprised you? What just didn't work? How did you have to adapt on the fly? What kind of pushback did you get from stakeholders? Answering questions like these forces you to go way beyond the simple, I did this, then I did that, and into the real compelling story.
You know, all of this really points to one final crucial mindset shift. You have to treat your portfolio like a design project, because that is exactly what it is. If the final portfolio is lazy or based on a template or just poorly written, what do you think that says about your actual design skills? It's a direct reflection of your work, so you've got to put in the effort.
So, at the end of the day, the core message here is this: stop being afraid of the mess. Seriously, showing where things went wrong and how you navigated all that chaos doesn't make you look incompetent. It does the exact opposite. It proves you're a professional who can handle the messy reality of design. That's what makes you look like an expert. So, I want to leave you with one final thought to take away from all this. Take a hard look at your own portfolio, at your own work. What is the real, messy, compelling story hiding behind it all? It's time to stop writing a fantasy and start telling the truth. What true story will your portfolio tell?